Fempreneur Friday is a conscious entrepreneurship community and a safe space where consciousness meets cool in divine feminine celebration and where we align over hustle.
Think about it as your own delicious happy hour for the week. It is a live, raw, and real community conversation with us, your girlfriends.
I'm Brett Sims, an entrepreneur, artist, and the founder of the global art nonprofit Step Designs.
And me, Stacey Wigiseria. I'm a mom, author, esthetician, self-love coach, and founder of Exalted Home and Beauty. We are here to elevate in the community and connect with you all. If you're ready to take your spirituality and business to the next level, join us.
Happy Fempreneur Friday, everyone.
Hello and welcome. Yes, happy Fempreneur Friday and happy Fempreneur Friday to us. It feels like, it feels so good just like getting here to another Friday.
Yes, it does. Honestly,
right?
It really does.
Yeah, now it feels like, okay, we can kind of rehash the week.
Yeah.
And get back aligned. That's the whole point. And also celebrate, right? That's the opportunity. So
right. We have
when I come here, I'm just like
it feels good. It feels good.
Yeah.
So yes, today we wanted to talk about blocks. It's an idea that came to us like while we were discussing last week. And I think that it's something that everyone goes through along this journey, along the spiritual journey, like self-love journey, entrepreneurship journey, consciousness journey, whatever it is, like we always are going to face blocks and have to figure out how to maneuver them and everything. So I think it's a great topic and I'm excited to dive into it. And I hope you guys are too.
Same here. And then also just pulling from the things that's going on. It couldn't be more perfect that we're talking about blocks today. and releasing those. So.
Yes. And it also happens to be like Mercury retrograde, but there are like 6 planets in retrograde right now. So I'm positive that, so many people are experiencing blocks and, whenever it is in time, space, reality that you are listening to this, maybe it's Mercury retrograde again, but like it's gonna resonate. So yes, let's begin. So Stacey, how is like your week so far? Or, did you experience blocks in your week and how did you maneuver them?
Yes. So how blocks come up for me is sometimes noticing all the different places. So for me, it's just like sometimes what I realize is my appetite is big, right? Like I have a big appetite. I'm up to many different adventures and it's exciting. And also I love to have these different areas of my life strokes, right? I'm a mama. Sometimes I'm trying new games or new fun things with Keelan and this husband and
husband.
That the whole entity, whole business of its own. And then also we're working on a project together. Also, sugar mama, my coaching, blah, blah, blah. So a couple of different things, but then sometimes, and I'm sure just not only me, but sometimes it feels like, whoa, there's so much going on, where to even start. And also that can be a block, right? That can actually keep us crippled, like not actually doing anything at all.
Right.
And for those moments, what I realized, and also this week, is have to kind of just scale back. Not necessarily all the things you're doing, but planning. Planning has never been, well, I shouldn't say my strong suit. It's just that I like kind of just moving and I like
me too.
Planners. Yeah, so like Ahmed is really
that's
really
why we work together as friends.
Yeah. So it really is helpful when you can elicit support. So I think that really staying, we started talking about this a little bit last week too. We're like really honing in on what your gifts are, especially when you're working in different partnerships and have the support around you. Eliciting the support that you need, that other people have gifts for, and then staying where you're really gifted. Because when I try to do those other things, I feel really drained. It doesn't feel in sync. I feel like it'll take me 3 hours when it'll take them a lot quicker. So seeing where you can leverage. So leverage is such a huge thing. And, there's different ways that we can leverage. this was the topic that we were talking about also, like leverage. You can leverage people, you can leverage time, you can leverage money, and you know what, you can leverage by using online services, social media, you know, things
right. So, like outsourcing or like, you know, balancing, I think by eliciting help, you know?
Yep. And then sometimes maybe that's an app, you know, maybe sometimes that is someone else in the online space that, or program systems and things like that. Those are ways that you can leverage as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, those are some things that I was like tapping back into. But I will say what's helpful when I'm actually just moving through all those items, what I realize is there's resistance, right? Like some of it is a thing that we're actually going through.
Right.
And then the second part is the resistance of it. So the more judgment I have around that, it's just actually taking me more outside of it, as opposed to finding the solution or being aligned with the solution.
Right.
So, you know, just noticing. So we talk about contraceptionship. First of all, we're just like at that noticing level and then moving on to what's next. So I guess to explain that just a little further, let's say part of the week, just like, oh, why am I doing this? You know, I always do this. That type of language just keeps us in the whirlpool.
Yeah.
Like that same judgment that's also like piling more on top.
More blocks, honestly.
More blocks on top, as opposed to more, it's about just like releasing, right? Releasing the resistance. So, okay, like accepting fully, like this is what's going on right now. This is where I am right now. This is my capacity to what I can have, or what I can do within this next hour, within this next day. Like, what's the most resonant thing right now? And then how can I be accountable for everything else along the way? So whether that's communication, sometimes just even communication can change the whole sequence.
But and communication with yourself, because what I've been doing is like, I've been having those thoughts too. I think like that's very mercurial. Like it's just like everyone's very much in their heads right now, and even if you're great at curving your thoughts, I think you can get caught up in everything that's happening in the world and inside people's own perceptions and minds right now. And so like what you said, when you know, like when you're in your head about it, or like, oh, I can't do this, or like, oh, like what's next, or what do I do, or you're in like a doubt loop, like, you know, like say somebody business wise didn't hit you back like you expect, and you know your mind goes like, oh my gosh, everyone hates me or something like that. Then, you know, what I've been doing is just making sure that instantly I'm flipping those thoughts like into a more positive mantra, like everyone hates me. Then you'd be like, everyone loves me, everyone wants to work with me, everyone, you know, is excited to work with me, I'm excited to work with them, you know, I'm calling more opportunities in, you know, like just flipping those in any negative thought cycle to like a positive mantra, I think is a way to like reverse those thoughts and that block.
Yes. And one of the practices we often talk about with my clients too is definitely flipping. So that's a really great access, but also like there's like an opening and closing, right? And you can feel the difference. Like, for example, the questions that we're asking ourselves, like what's our focus, how it brings our focus back. So one item could be, wow, my book, oh my gosh. So there's been so many different comments about my book this week. I'm so excited. She has one. You sent me one. Let's say, you know, oh my gosh, my book is not getting much traction, or, you know, my book isn't selling this week.
But you haven't been promoting it.
I know. Okay. But let's say that was my thing. But luckily that, like, I've been so surprised by some messages that I've been receiving this week, you know, out of not even promoting, and also just
I have been promoting it.
Yes. And you know what, actually that's what's having in the vortex. And that's like, so, okay, that's, oh my, it's making me think about so many things, because one, just like how you said, you've been promoting it, you know, friends, like just people coming out of like, oh, wow, actually, I just read this page for the first time and wow, it made a difference for me. And I'm just like, oh, wow, you know, but having that in the vortex, meaning like having you do that and just like me looking at it and also feeling appreciation for that, like I'm seeing more arise. So that's one thing, right? What we appreciate, I know Daniela doesn't say, what we appreciate also appreciates. So in value. So keep on calling that same thing in. But also, I know a lot of the times before, I would get so upset of the things that we can't control. Like, there's so many things we can't control, especially when we're talking about blocks right now. One of the times, I mean, things that you can't control really come up to your mind like, wow, you know, this sucks. Like, there's nothing else I can do about it. But the flip side of having no control and things happen for you is so great as well. So that's what I remind myself of, like,
control is
wow,
huge.
yeah. And how can you surrender and release that? Because, like, for example, I didn't control, or I didn't ask Brett to promote the book this week. And that was something that, quote unquote, out of my control. But I was like, wow, actually some things that happen outside of our control are so great. So being able to hold the part where it hurts or it's uncomfortable to not have control gives us access to also holding the other part where, wow, like, life can surprise us. We can have so much other things arise when we're not controlling everything. So just like letting that go and letting that be too.
Yeah, I think that that's actually a wonderful way to maneuver blocks. And it literally is is one of the many lessons that Mercury retrograde teaches. It's like, you can't always be in control. You know, like, a part of spirituality, a part of consciousness is that active surrendering to, you know, and having faith. And I think that so many people cling so tightly to control, and it's like, that's where, you know, then it just gets more, things get more tied in a knot, and more blocks arise, more walls arise, because, and you're like, feel like you're like hitting your head against a wall, because it's like you're just trying to control and within that manipulate even like aspects to flow in your way and the way that your mind thinks. But consciousness is beyond the mind, you know. It's like it's how, it's your soul, it's you know, it's a faith in whatever is higher, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. And it's, you know, having faith in moving in that flow. And I think, like you said before, about planning, because, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about this all week. Like, my friends other friends, I feel like, just think I have zero ability to plan. And a lot of times in my life, I feel like they've really tried to like belittle me, like, I don't know how to plan. But no, I know how to plan if I want to plan. But I don't believe in planning a lot of the time, because I believe in seeing how things unfold naturally, seeing the divine order of how things unfold, like how my day will unfold, who will show up in that space without me forcing or controlling, what will show up in that space without me forcing and controlling. Because it's like, I would rather God show up, I would rather faith show up, I would rather light show up than what I'm trying to manipulate to be, because that's so small, that's in a box, what I can see, what I can do with my human mind. But it's so much more expansive when you can open it up to like to faith, to, you know, things that are so much bigger and so much better than you can even imagine. And so I think that should be respected, you know, with people that even in business wise who don't plan in conventional ways. Because it's like, a lot of people, especially those who have Aquarius placements, like, we see beyond the need to control and like, you know, and you know, order and organize everything how we see. Like, while you should have, you know, like a loose idea, a loose structure, I think you should always intention set, you know, have a vision. But ultimately, probably whatever is unfolding like within the divine is far greater than you can, like, you know, just try to like block in and order and arrange with your tiny mind, because consciousness is so much deeper and so much more expansive than that.
Yes.
And I also wanted to bring up, because in this, I've been thinking about this all week too, because and I'm like at a crossroads, honestly, with it, because, okay, so, you know, within the spiritual community, within the conscious entrepreneurship community, everyone always talks about manifestation, right? Yeah. And we're always trying to like manifest different things, and, you know, and push our manifestations into reality. But like, you know, where is the line between, you know, manifesting and trying to control what you want to manifest? And I think that sometimes also we get so like, well, this is what I'm manifesting, this is what I'm calling in, why isn't it here, why hasn't it come, it worked the last time, you know, like. And sometimes we get so like into that loop of, well, but this is what I'm manifesting, I wanted to manifest this, and
I want this. and I'm not going to budge, right?
Right. And that can really bring like a loop of insanity and just a loop of blocks, because you are so attached to this one manifestation that you have on your dream board and that you've written over and over and over again in your journal, and it doesn't really leave room for, you know, just the divine coming in, divine timing, divine light, divine order. It honestly, sometimes it is a block, and it kind of exits you out of the here and now many times, because you're so obsessed with that manifestation, with that thing that you are, you know, calling in and believe that will happen. And it absolutely, you know, can happen and probably will, but like, you know, back to what we have been saying about like being here now, being at the fountain, but like, yeah, like what are you going to do in the meantime? You know, are you going to obsess over it and create more and more and more roadblocks because you're in a mental loop of obsessing over that manifestation?
Right.
Or
like, how are you ignoring the present in order to supposedly bring in, and then you're not really actually have access?
So now I'm like, I don't know, because there's been a lot of talk in the spiritual community about just like, you know, like people are, I don't know about The Secret anymore. I don't know, because like so much of being actually able to genuinely manifest is being here now and opening up that space for whatever, you know, the divine wants to come in. And if you're too tightly looped around this thought of like, well, you know, this is what I have, you know, like this is what I have written down. I've had this manifestation for 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. This is it. Like, but what if there's more? What if there's something that's so vast, so deep, so great that you can't even, you know, fathom? So I've been thinking about that too. Like, I don't know. And so I've been clinging less to like manifestation and really going back to how my spirituality journey began, which is really just present moment awareness, you know? And in my present moment awareness, I've manifested so much more than I've ever manifested, like, you know, with reading manifestation books, with listening to like these structured manifestation plans, things you should do, like just being here now. I mean, like I've had world travel literally just come to me, you know, and without even knowing how I'm going to do it or how I'm going to have the money to pay for it or anything like that, things just appear and have appeared at my doorstep just because I've like let go and sat in the present moment and like allowed it to be and allowed things to come to me. But sometimes when we're so tightly looped around manifesting, it's like we're almost forgetting to allow that space for things to come to us, you know?
Yes. Oh my gosh, you said so many key things there. Even so, a couple of things that popped out to me as you were talking about that is, one, the first thing is like the attachment to the result. Obviously, if there's an attachment to a result, it's not free-forming. It's like actually that result is going to give you something that thing actually can't give you.
Right.
So meaning like, it's kind of like you make that thing your God.
Yeah.
That thing
above God.
Yes. Thing of you. And then that's when it becomes not as aligned, right? And that's what you do with anything. If there's anything that comes before, like in place of things, then it tends to like distort the view as to what we're doing, whether that's success. Haven't we seen this over and over? Success.
There's so many distortions going on right now in the world and reality in people's minds, people's lives. And
then also even just knowing that it distorts reality, just like you said, it has a skip over what's actually our live and experience right now, because all we're thinking about is over there. It's like, I will live when I'm there. And
when this happens.
Yeah, reality or alignment, or just even you can tell in your own vibration, because then you're so caught up about having this thing be complete. Then actually you're right, like living and being excited and being really in your world right now with where you are. So that's the first thing that definitely pops out to me as you say that. And then the second part is formulas.
Wait, say that one more time?
Formulas.
Oh, okay.
The second part is just formulas. So exactly what you're saying, like when people are talking about, okay, this A, B, C, D, D, this is how to manifest, right?
Yeah.
And also just like you're saying, like have you ever done something exactly like, oh yeah, you said it earlier. You were like, I did this to manifest this thing. And then now you're going ahead and doing that same exact thing to try to manifest another thing and it doesn't work.
Right.
It reminds me of sometimes in sales, right? Like I would have a great sale.
Right.
And then I would try to do like with the next client, I try to walk through the same exact whole conversation that I had with the other client.
Right.
To do that sale. But why it's so different is because the first time when I was going through that presentation, let's say, or going through that conversation and feeling lit up and excited about it, I had not the attachment to the formula thinking that was going to lead me, but I was just enjoying the conversation. I was in flow. I was in, just in that moment, and it led to a result.
Right.
Okay, now the other way.
Right.
Into the result instead of actually just being in your flow, being in your excitement. So
because the first time it's easy to be in the moment when doing it.
Yeah, but then the second time you're like, oh, wait a minute, now you're manipulating, right?
Yes.
Like put it in, like, oh, I did this and this and this and last time, but that's not where you were last time.
Right.
Your head wasn't there. Your head wasn't more in your mind. It was actually just in your flow, in your spirit, more aligned with just the moment. And those are the things that completely change the circumstances. It doesn't look like it's different, but it's so different. You can even tell from your energy. So this is like an energetic level we're talking about.
So I have this example because I've spoken about this book in like previous episodes in like season 1. I talked about this book right here, Manifest Now, by Adele Ahmed, and she's a fabulous human being. She's wonderful. But the thing is, okay, like she has these practices that you can do to easily and quickly and very quickly manifest. But like, and I've done them. Like, she has, this one practice of like, I forget how you exactly write it down, but it's like, I manifest, I don't know, say like I manifest a new car, and a husband, and I'm so happy, or something like that. But like she says, like you write it down 100 times, and then you read it, and then you read it out loud, and then you do this. I think she said to do it like 2 to 3 times a day. I forget. And the first time I did it, it was really positive for me. Like it was so quick, so easy, so effortless. Like everything that I wrote down came into fruition maybe like in the next like 3, and I was talking about some big things, like, and it just happened for me like in a couple months. And then I'm like, okay, cool, let's do this again. But then I was doing it literally like based on
how you've done it before.
Yes, the end result versus just being here now and doing it in the present moment. And to me, it's like that's a thing that she kind of leaves out of the book, because I think she is a very present woman. Like I think she's on I don't know what planet she's on, but like she's got it together. But at the same time, it's like when you are on that high level, sometimes you forget to like, teach other people to incorporate these things. And on Twitter, I've been talking about a lot of like this, like in the spiritual community, like there's so much talk about all this spiritual knowledge, these things you can do, but present moment awareness is left out. Like, and even when I've been in spiritual groups, I've been like spoken over, talked over, belittled when I bring up present moment awareness things, because a lot of people's egos and resistance can't even take present moment conversations like about being here now in the first place. But it's like that's why it needs to be integrated into spirituality, I feel like. And why, like, because if not, even like these spiritual tools that you're doing over and over again, going to your altar, like, I don't know, buying crystals, whatever it is, if you're doing it just for an end goal and not just being here now, then that's actively creating a block.
Right. Yeah.
And that's like the epiphany I have this week, or I've been having, and like more of just being and less of just like doing, because it's like, otherwise we're just doing things for an end goal. And that's not what consciousness or spirituality is. It's about like being happy now, being here now, enjoying every moment of like, yes, I get to be here right now. Oh my God, I'm so blessed. Oh wow, this is so wonderful. Like what we're doing right here, talking and expanding and getting to expand people that are listening, and you listener right now, like, you know, and it's just like, if we're out of that loop, then we're actively creating blocks. That's just
I love it. I'm like, now this reminded me of something that I'm like trying to look at.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it just like, it's been crazy, because I feel like I thought that because so many people belittle just like present moment awareness because it is so simple, that for a bit in my spiritual journey, I kind of left it be, because I was like, well, no one really cares about this. Like, I guess it's not, I'm happy, but I guess, you know, like people aren't really into it. Because, you know, my spiritual journey started with the power of now. It started with reading New Earth. And that's all deeply grounded, you know, in present moment, mindful awareness. Yeah. And for whatever reason, I don't know why people think that that's different than spirituality, than tarot cards, than, you know, lighting candles at your altar. I don't know why there's separation between two things when it should be all fluid. And yeah, like, and I think it actively relates to business and the things that we're doing, because it's like, if we're always doing business tasks with an end result in our minds and a falling down, or we're not hitting that, you know, that goal, that vision, that manifestation, then we're not having even fun in the entrepreneurship journey. And entrepreneurship is supposed to be fun. Like, that's the point of it.
Yeah. Fun, expansive, like learning, definitely expansive. I would say it doesn't mean that it's like happy all the time.
No.
But it is expensive.
It's hard.
Just like, you know, working out, right? Like it feels good. Even the hard parts should start feeling good. And when it's feeling more draining on the other side, it's like, what is your expectation? What is your, you know, I should be in another place that I'm not, like rejecting.
Yes.
So that's definitely a huge block.
Ooh, it's toxic. Like, manifestation can honestly become very toxic, and
in the wrong way.
In the wrong way.
Like in not alignment, in not.
But it should just be a natural thing, right? Like, it should just be a natural thing that happens when you're here and now in the present moment. But so many people are like looped in their mind outside of the present moment that they miss it. Sometimes you can miss your manifestations coming through.
Some people, like I could even attest to this, are just like not even in your body.
Yeah. And you know what? Also, I realized
the next day, but not even in your body.
Yeah. Yes.
Wait, where is this? So I have to like find this quote.
Yeah, find it. You were saying, you know, okay, about your book, about like, you know, like, you know, kind of feeling like, why isn't it this or that, whatever in your mind you want it to be. But it's, and like, I was recently thinking this way. I mean, it's not really related, but I was thinking this way kind of like about travel, like just feeling like wanderlust and kind of frustrated that I haven't traveled internationally in a bit. And then and because not even that, but a manifestation for mine has always been world travel, right? It's always like, I'm going to travel the world, this is going to happen. And then, you know, once you are in the present moment, you're like here and now, and you're like breathing, and you can be like, wait, but I already have this great book, and people already love this great book that I've already created. I'm already doing everything that I can be doing with this great book. And then I realized, like, I was looking at old memory cards in my camera, because I do like a lot of landscape photography and everything. And going through all this, I feel like, wait, I've already traveled so much of the world. I've already been to so many countries. What am I talking about? Like, I already am a world traveler. So why am I so pressed for more and more and more versus appreciating what I have here and now, what I've done, what I've accomplished, what I've managed, how I've managed to manifest all of these, you know, countries in my life, and all these beautiful experiences and all these beautiful photos. Like, so I also have a Patreon that includes my own travel photography.
Yes, put it.
Yes. So check that out, people.
Okay, two couple points before we head off. One thing is, you know what? Actually, I realized that I didn't finish up that saying when I was talking about changing your focus. And I was like, let's say I could be in a loop about like, I'm not getting the sales. And I love that you talked about what it is that you already have. So focusing on what you do have always starts opening up our doors, our minds and our hearts and doors. And then just opening conversations. So noticing what the conversation that you are having with yourself is. So if I am, for example, saying, wow, I'm not getting any sales, I'm not getting what it is that I want, like changing that to focus on the things that I want, because that would be
flipping it
of more focus on the lack of it as opposed to like the desire for it. So if I think about my desire, it'd be more like, oh, actually, how can I call in more sales around my book? How can I talk about this a little bit more? How can I be in my desire for it? And those types of conversations within myself, as opposed to the other ones that close, and that one is more of an opening conversation. So like opening to receive, opening for your abundance. And when we're talking about blocks, it's the same thing, right? Like, how can we release the resistance? How can we release everything that's piling on top and actually like have the thing that we want to appear, like being more in the desire of it? So those are the two things you can, what we often say is like, you're either in one or two places, either the lack of it or the desire for it. And the other, obviously the desire and the play and being in the present will be more, it'll be more fun, one, and also it'll be able to call that into your space easier because you're not closed off to what it is that's available, creativity, new ideas, those types of things.
Right.
So that was the first thing. And the second thing, I was finishing up about that, man, I cannot find the quote that I wanted to but when I do, but pretty much it goes something like this, where, you know what, not being in the present moment allows us to not get what it is that we need to get in this moment. And actually we do need the tools and learnings and information that we need in this moment. That actually gives us access to the next moment. And that's how people stay stuck, is because we ignore what's going on right now.
Right.
And then we never get what it is that we need to get right now in order to get us to the next step, in order for us to go to level 1, level 2, level 3. Remember this, I always say like the Secret Mario game?
It's life. Life is like a game, simulation.
We need to get the mushrooms. We need to get all the little jewels here right now in order to go to the next level. Yeah. But we're so busy trying to figure out what's on the next level, first of all. Second of all, the bad guy at the end or whatever.
We're all looking around.
Right. Instead of actually being where we are right now. So that is a huge lesson for the week, and also, really starts helping us to realign. And also, as we're going through our own blocks and things, we're just sharing the tools that we use to actually get us out of those loops and get realigned, and eliciting conversations, like community. And for us, we're able to do that with each other. So that helps us like get back on track and get back aligned on what it is that we're actually after.
Well, that perfectly leads me to some of the tools that I was going to say, closing out. And it's interesting because, I think listening to other spiritual teachers like us, or whoever you want to listen to, before you kind of start your day or scrolling on social media or entering into the world, is really like grounding and gives me clarity. But it was interesting because today I was editing our pod about toxic productivity, and then I listened to one of my spiritual teachers like on YouTube, and it's so interesting because just the random video that I picked from her, and it didn't say exactly what the topic was, but she was talking about toxic productivity, and I was just like, whoa, okay, talk about alignment here. And that's also always just like confirmation of alignment. But I think that when you're listening to other people who are very grounded, are very much in alignment, it can snap you back into that as well. And I always, before I even listen to spiritual teachers or anything, I always start my day off by meditating. And this kind of relates into our last episode about spiritual protection and everything, because that's very much what it is. But it also it can protect you against blocks, because it pulls you into the present moment when you're meditating before doing anything else. And then I was going to say that even if you can't do it for like a really long time, try to maybe for like a week, just focus on yourself. Like on social media, only look at your own page, only look at your own stuff. Don't scroll, don't look at other people's stories, just focus in on yourself, because like what we were saying before about, you know, being in the game, in the simulation, and you're trying to like look at all this other stuff, do all these other things, but you got to catch all those little mushrooms, all the little gold pellets for yourself. And so it's also like, it's a practice of being here now to just like go on your own social media, be obsessed with yourself, like your own pictures, you know, just like tune into yourself. And that also frees you from a loop of comparison, which creates blocks. And then my final suggestion would be would be a mantra. I mean, you can create whatever mantra you like to flip a negative thought, but one that I got from a spiritual teacher whose name is Lisa Nichols. She's amazing. But she says this phrase that goes, how can it get any better than this? Like when you're in the present moment, just asking like, oh my God, I'm so grateful to be here right now. Like, how could it even get any better than this? Then you open up doors for more to come in, because we're so grateful of this right here, right now. So how can it even get any better than this, you know? So those are my little tips and tools that I use to kind of unblock myself when I get in sticky situations. But, you know, like we're always going to have blocks. It's part of the journey. And sometimes it provides us such deep lessons when we learn how to maneuver out of the blocks that we put ourselves in.
Yes. And even, that's such a great way to end this, because it's not that also we're trying to control that. Neither can we, right? We can't control like what the resistance is, or the resistance is actually what makes us stronger, right? Same thing with working out. Like the resistance, the weights, the ones that are heavier, that is actually what helps us be able to be that strong for the next level. Because
pushing past resistance is a feat in itself sometimes. You know, resistance is the block sometimes. Eckhart Tolle says resistance is the mind in the mud, you know? And it's like the present moment it gets you out the mud.
Yeah.
So I encourage you guys this week to really try to stay present, stay in your moment, your energy, your path. Read your own books, you know, like, or, you know, dive into like a spiritual teacher's book who can teach you to stay present and to, you know, embrace the here and now, and not keep rushing and reaching for that next manifestation to arrive, but really like sitting in the glory of all that you've already manifested. Because like that was an epiphany this week. Like I was like, damn, I manifested a lot. Like, okay. So yeah, and we both have. So I think, you know, that also comes with, we're always celebrating. So that's celebrating how far we've come by being here now.
Exactly. Love it. Okay.
Yay. Well, happy Friday. Enjoy your weeks.
Happy Friday. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Also, check out our companies to support your ascension and to give back to underserved girls through art and self-love.
You can check out more on me, Brett, and my art, coloring books, and self-love affirmation cards that will support you on your own art and self-love journey, relieve stress while giving underserved girls of color the gift of art. Follow at Stuck Designs, that's STUK, on Instagram, or visit stuckdesigns.org.
And you can check out more about me, Stacey, at exalther.com. There you can find out more about my book, Exalt Her, 12 Ways to Unleash Your Unstoppable Beauty. It's about being more of who you are from the inside to out and sharing more of your gifts with the world. I host workshops and coach one-to-one around aligning with yourself, your life force, and your legacy. You can also find out more and follow us on Instagram at exaltedwoman.com.
Happy Friday and have a great week.